you all for coming. Okay. That gotcha moment, that sudden shift in denial, all the walls closing in. The story no longer lines up. The detective confronts the suspect with irrefutable evidence, shattering the perp's composure, eliminating all deniability. At that exact moment, the suspect, after an hour or sometimes more of interrogation, finally implodes with guilt and explodes with confession. All right, I did it, or something to that effect. This sweet confession, so satisfying, so interesting to watch unfold, was the exact reason the algorithm fed me this over and over again. Last year, I took an overnight job to go to school. And in this job, I was able to play podcasts in the background. That's when my addiction began. For over a month, I listened to interrogation videos. I felt guilt and shame after every shift because I knew it was an opportunity to do something more productive with my time, like listen to an audiobook and prepare for my speech. At the start of every night, it would play the algorithms over and over again, all these interrogation videos, and I pressed play and locked in like Meemaw, max betting slot machines with a lucky visor and unflicked cigarette into the wee hours of the morning. Hit that jackpot, Meemaw. Grandma needs a new pair of teeth. According to the social dilemma directed by Jeff Orlowski, Netflix 2020, we are programmed at every dull, fearful, or awkward moment to immediately default to our phones. They've successfully dug deep into our brain stems and implanted an unconscious habit. Every time you see your phone at the counter, you just look at it and you know if you reach over and flip that phone, it just might have something new for you. But that's not by accident, it's by design. Social media is more calculated than you think. We need to be more mindful of its effects psychologically. In the words of Zach De La Rocha, 1992, off the song of the same name, Know Your Enemy, or in this case, Frenemy, it's to know yourself. For the next 6 minutes, we will try to get a better understanding of social media's goals and motives. First, we will go over the process of engagement. Second, we will go over the growth tactics used by social media. And finally, we will conclude with social media's advertising and what we can do about it. Maybe it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but being addicted to interrogation videos for 2 months is no exaggeration. So first, I'll cover some of the processes of engagement. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Arthur C. Clarke, in the Encyclopedia of Science Fiction, 1962. Persuasive technology is much like a slot machine. They are both highly addictive and both a gamble. That's why when you refresh your feed, a new story will always repopulate, triggering the pleasure-pain balance. According to Society for Study of Addiction, Dopamine and Pleasure-Pain Balance, 2023, the pleasure-pain balance is an opponent processing mechanism in the brain's reward pathways. When we experience pleasure, i.e. during a doom scroll, dopamine is released, tipping the scale toward pleasure. To maintain homeostasis, though, the brain adapts by tipping an equal and opposite amount toward pain, resulting in a delayed come down. Can I get a shout out to EDC 2 days later? Too much doom scrolling on your phone can also create a dopamine deficit state. According to CNN Health, How to Tell If You Have a Dopamine Deficit and What You Can Do to Reset, Madeleine Holcomb, 2025. Dopamine deficit state occurs when the brain rewards pathways are so overwhelmed by the stimulating behavior that it forces the brain to adapt by reducing dopamine transition, consequently changing your joy set point. Hence the come down feeling. Persuasive technology is designed intentionally applied to the extreme to modify someone's behavior when they want them to take a certain action or keep scrolling. One example is photo tagging. If you get an email that you've been tagged in a photo, of course you're going to click on the email and look at it. This is deep-seated human personality they are tapping into, people, and that's literally something you can't ignore. When Facebook added this feature, they dialed it way up. What you got to ask for yourself is, why wouldn't they just add the photo in the email? Instead, they have you crawling back to the app. Engagement. Now that we've established how the frenemy engages, like it did during my 3 months of interrogation videos, let's investigate how they turn that into growth. We live in a world where a tree is worth more dead than alive. There's an entire discipline and field in social media called growth hacking, whose job it is to hack users psychologically with subliminal cues to get more growth, manipulation, more signups, more engagement, all which are now standard playbook in the online community. Another tactic is scientific A/B testing, specifically of small feature changes. Companies like Google and Facebook over periods of time would roll out tiny little experiments consistently on its users, and over a period of time they would develop the most optimal way to get users to do what they wanted them to do, i.e. manipulation to the user. I don't know about you, but I feel like a lab rat. Not the kind that cures cancer, more like the ones that have silly body parts growing on their back. This is not a conspiracy theory, folks. So take them tinfoil hats off. It's just business, plain and simple. Social media is trapped in a business model of economic incentives and indebted to its shareholders. No different from any other company, and have no ethical incentive to make sure that your mental state is not harmed in the process. Now that's what I call growth. During the 4 months I was watching interrogation videos, according to AdFuel, the daily ad exposure, how many ads does the average person each day watch? 2026. I've probably seen 1,400 minutes and up to 3,000 minutes of ads. Ads at all costs. We're worth more slumped over, dead-eyed staring at our screens than living a rich life, guys. Once companies have both engagement and growth, they can rake in the ads, the ad revenue, the cash, the moolah. None of this is new, in fact, quite common knowledge, which is precisely my point. We've all invited these digital Frankensteins in our homes and allowed them to terraform every aspect of our lives. No reconciliation, just quiet, acquiescent docileness. It's an invisible enemy because not everyone recognizes it, and that's okay. But that's still the problem. But having these conversations and voicing your opinion, sometimes on these very platforms, may one day provide the tipping point and restore balance. I've gone over my personal addiction over the past 6 months and its connection to user acquisition. Then I went into detail on how social media uses growth and engagement only as a tool to increase ad revenue. Finally, how social media's only loyalty is to its shareholders. And I don't want you to lose sight that these tools have created the most wonderful things in the world, and however, we may have been a bit naive to the device we place in our children's lap. So here's to a better world.